run up on the roof and do some chores. It's never bad to always give people an opportunity to step up and do the right thing. Um, when they show more of a propensity to keep doing the wrong thing than the right thing, then you step back, you regroup, and you go, okay, what, you know, patience, guys. Um, I've been being this way ever since, you know, before the people of the world knew about religion and knew about a man named Adam. So yeah, I've been being this way for a long time. You know what I'm saying? You're the way you are before they start telling and writing stories about you. Okay. Well, when people compare, themselves to others, um, see, the reason, one of the main reasons why I am who I am is because I don't sit around and constantly compare myself to others. It's more like, yeah, that song "Dreaming Casually" by the Midnighters. Once in a while, and I don't sit around thinking, how can I be as good or better than Gail Sayers or Sugar Ray Robinson or Marty Robbins or Waylon Jennings. I don't sit around doing that. I just sit around going, it's kind of like that case of Ross by Doris Day. It's more just, this is a beautiful, precious gift, and the excitement about life is the living of it, right? Because when you're wise, when you're grateful, when you're empathetic and respectful, okay, you can guarantee because of you, there's going to be a lot more good in your life than there is bad, right? And when I look at my existence and I look at my life, when you put it on Earl, the onus on Earl, there is so much good and so little bad. But then when you look at the bad because of my existence and what's happened, what happened with my existence and what's still happening with my existence, is like, is there really any bad in my life that happened directly because of me? And as a human being, I have to sit there and go, first of all, I can't definitively answer that question because I haven't been given that opportunity like a lot of you. Most of you don't have your life story and religious documentation. So people weren't that interested in your existence. And so they didn't have scientists comparing themselves to you because they write books about you saying, what's so great about this guy, right? So I can't answer that question. I can't sit there and say, what would my life have been like if I hadn't had the Pentagon, the Vatican, Scientology, the Quorum of the 12, and all in my domicile, comparing themselves to me? Okay. So I can't tell you just what to expect. The joy you give is the pleasure you get. I can't tell you I can't tell you what my life would have been like if I had been like most of you. Okay. My fantasy is, early fantasy baby, is that, oh, look, he's playing basketball. Now he's coaching. That's his wife. There's his kids, you know. But the thing about it is if I was like one of you, I would tell everybody how blessed I was, how much God loves me, and how blessed I am that God loves me, because I make good decisions because I'm the Messiah. And then, but the thing is, you can't be the Messiah and be like you. Okay. I'm the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer. You're not. Right? So the only way to be the Messiah is to be the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer. So there's no way that you can live a, quote, normal, typical life. Okay. Okay. Holy pornography, Batman. I know. And so, so like, you get these people. I'm going to unsubscribe on all my subscriptions. I just went and cleared up all of the ones I put on my watch list, my watch later list. The military just really doesn't help very much. They're just not very much help at anything at all. They're as corrupt as the corporations that give them a play, it's not a playground. They give them the brain chemical addiction cesspool that they're addicted to. And so they're really no help. So it's like, they can't help for shit. Um, as far as connecting to things digitally and stuff like that, I'm getting pretty bored and tired of that. And it's 15, 16, 17 years later. Yeah, because that was more trying to get the military to step up and do the right thing by the Messiah, because he earned the right to administer perfect commands. And yeah. So my big thing is to just basically rest, chores, and detox and exercise, which I'm still heading towards. Every time things get disheveled and manipulated around, it's just like when I would get everything on a perfect. I wasn't expecting this. Well, there you go. Yeah. I started working, going out in the sun, getting a better, a better daily regiment going here, like I always do. And then here comes my sister, and everything goes. It's like, oh fuck, this is like it's like Stephanie and Amy all over again, right? It's like, okay. And so I. As far as a consistent life where, you need to get in a pattern of behavior, it's got to be healthy, you got to do Tai Chi and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I love you. What was that? I'm sorry. I'm being subtle. Yeah, so, but I do I completely adore people. They're given life by the glory of grace, and I completely adore them. But what they've done with their brains over thousands of years, because of their selfishness, is very, very troublesome. They cannot focus on anything past their physical bodies. Okay, no matter how much they tell themselves they do, it's not true. Okay. The chosen people, this one kid makes videos, the chosen people and people watch them by the hundreds of thousands because they are chosen. Okay. And then there's the narcissist guy, and lots of people watch those ones in every video. Narcissist, the narcissist, the narcissist. It's like, how many ways can you come up with ways to sell advertising stuff, to talk about yourself, okay. He's talking about a narcissist. He's talking about himself. Guys, I talk about the Messiah all the time. Okay, here you go. And then the people in the military, you're a narcissist. Yeah. Just forgive, debt, and trespass, love one another, go into each other in faithful peace, go home and do what needs to be done when it needs to get done. Otherwise, label me something that more resembles you, and then tell everybody what an expert you are. Okay. Sorry, what were we talking about again? It's hard being someone that's so intelligent that you can, quote unquote, solve most people's problems they invented, by wanting to be the great problem solver in 10 seconds or less, and they don't want anybody to know you exist, right? Yeah, that they're like that. And you're like, what? Well, because if people know I exist, they no longer get to do what Ruby's parents did in Albuquerque. And they just can't live without that power. When you're weary, feeling small. When tears are in your eyes, I'll dry them all. I'm by your side. And that's like at the pearly gates. Eat drugs. And people nowadays would think it's like that. Okay. I thought it when I was a kid. And then my mom explained to me, no. And then you go listen to his other albums and go, oh, no, this guy's cynical. He's jaded. Okay. He thinks he and the other poets of the world are going to save us from all these corporations, especially the one that really pisses you off is Mrs. Robinson. Cuckoo, Jesus loves you more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. The hypocrites that use Jesus as the head of their gun club and their bomb club love you more than you will know. Take your drugs and be institutionalized. That's what he's saying. So you're going to blame Jesus for people not obeying his commands. What about you, Simon? Simon says, buy my album. I'm going to solve all the world's problems with my poetry. He must be a philosopher. Philos, yeah. When you combine the glory of the universe to your mind and you can explain it to everybody, that's when you know the devil and Satan are just running rampant in your head, right? that invention. I'm going to kill God, replace it with my invention. There go the devil and Satan. What are they doing? They're going to save the world again. Okay. How do you do that? You have to take it over and then get everybody to think like you. Okay. Okay. How lab rat of us. I know. Earl, isn't that what you're doing? No. Okay, guys, when you forgive debt and trespass, love one eternal peace, what I tell you guys the last couple of days, there'll be wars and rumors of war. Okay, but we'll have a better opportunity to have a global relationship. Okay, that's more functional when more people are doing that which is right, unless that's what's wrong, that which is good, and less of that which is bad. Okay, and are being truthful and accepting the truth of our creation over the delusions that we tell ourselves because of the greatness of the lies that we cause to perpetuate our relative insanity through invention. And you're just like, it's not like I'm saying everybody must think like me or they're gonna die and go to hell in my brain, and everyone must think like me. It's the only way we can have no order. Now buy my robots, buy my products, buy my cars, buy my food. It'll come to you in the best organic packaging in the history of organic packaging. Why don't we just keep everybody, stabilizing themselves locally, and anything that cannot be stabilized to help people's dietary things in the meantime that cannot be stabilized locally, we use those big ships and shipping things and stuff to ship stuff there till we restabilize the ecosystem there, like in Africa and other parts of the world, stuff like that. We're going to need less of it in parts of the United States because the United States is more of an with food, it's more of an export type thing. So we export our food to repair the places that we've been exploiting for things that we use for our war industry or our diamond industry, or you see what I'm saying? Okay. Why don't we do stuff like that? Why don't we be intelligent for once in my life? I can finally think intelligently. I'm not a fuckhead anymore. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to unsubscribe on all my subscriptions because they're mean. They don't believe in a living Messiah. They got ego problems. The Messiah looks like them. The Messiah fucks like them. The Messiah sings like them. Yeah, there's no pleasing any of these assholes, man. I mean, when I sing, it's like, I don't just I don't just do hip hop and say, everybody listen to my dysfunctional sex life through me talking to scratching old Ohio players, right? Because there's motherfuckers. Hey, this is just trifling, ain't it, though? I mean, if I'm not diverse, seriously, I'm very eclectic. My mother raised me to be very eclectic. My mom did a pretty good job of making sure that I was eclectic. What are you talking about? That I'm not sitting there going, I'm only exclusive. I'm the exclusive. I'm the best country singer in the history of country singers. I'm an R&B singer. Me? What am I? I'm a human being who cannot stand it when people value money more than children's lives. Okay, that's me. Hi, Messiah. How are you doing? Okay, you're not. I'm not the Messiah. I'm not the Messiah. No, Handel's opera is fuck. I'm not labeling myself. Okay, I was labeled by the people that are torturing me right now for science projects to feel superior to me intellectually. Okay, and when you connect to selfish people, you go in trying to get them to help themselves be unselfish, and you believe that they can be unselfish, and then they're constantly letting you down. Well, that's okay because I'm certain. Because we have a future past this hell. That the Messiah is the focal point of correcting all the selfishness, and I'm certain it happens. And I'm just going to focus on me in the quantum computing, correcting the artificial general intelligence, as opposed to getting human beings to help me do so, because they don't want that kind of access to me. No, it's not because they're afraid of the military. It's because they're selfish. Has nothing to do with being afraid of the military. Okay. Being afraid of the military is I don't want to die, and that's selfish, right? So has nothing to do with being afraid of the military. I'm not afraid of the military. I'm sick and tired of the military, but I'm not afraid of them. Well, they can do this and that. Yeah, they can do really stupid things. We can program people like we're programming a video game, and we can't get them to do anything they want to do. Yeah, and they still do. And they're still cocky about it, even though they don't come and front on me about it. Well, they already did it. It's because wouldn't it be redundant to keep doing it every day or every time at the grocery store, Isn't it bad enough that you can get a stupid kid that plays receiver for New Mexico State who's cute and cocky and thinks he's all that? And it's like, I would have whooped the floor. You know how many guys look like you that pushed me into the pole and, seriously, Michael Jordan, 44 inches. Yeah, that's real high. Danny was 58, sometimes close to 60. And people, that's not true. Yeah, it was. I played basketball with that man. I used to see the bottom. He was 5'6". He could bounce the ball. He could jump up in the air. He could do a 360 rotation and a half, catch the ball, and then dunk it. When I saw it, he missed grabbing it, and it bounced off the back of the rim and bounced about 15, 20 feet in the air, and his cousin laughed and said, "You missed." I was like, yeah, that's what you got to say to that? You missed? No wonder he doesn't like your sorry ass. You missed. Yeah. I was like, damn, man, that was impressive, Denny. How do you say that? Even if you were Shaquille on that stupid little propaganda for I need more money to fuck show. When some man, 5'6", comes up, bounces the ball in the air, jumps up in the air, does a 360 spin, another half spin, catches the ball, tries to reverse dunk it, and it bounces off the back of the rim because he has to reach out and catch it. It didn't time it. It's hard to time and do perfectly. And then you missed. I mean, just the fact that he attempted it. Okay, I've never seen anybody else attempt it. Okay. And I know he's done it. Okay. Because it was amazing. Right. It was just spectacular, immaculate. This was a pimp from Chicago that ended up in Casper to try to avoid being incarcerated, where he could set up a place to do business, where he could run the town and not have a lot of rival gang violence that could kill him. He'd made a business decision. Instead of become the king of Chicago, he just wanted to go someplace where he could corner the market and live as comfortable, and the people that were in the market with him live as comfortable as they could for as long as they could. It was a survival decision. That's why Danny Bennett was my friend, and he'll always be my friend. His business was cutthroat, and it was horrible, but he told me about it, and he told me about it empathetically. Okay, you sure you want to do this? These coaches are assholes, and they will abuse you just like these guys here and here. All these white guys are going to try to hurt you because they hate you. You Mexican, right? He thought I was Mexican too. I didn't correct him. I just, if everybody thinks you are, you are. Because I found that out with Bob's mom, You're a Mexican. What do you mean I'm Mexican? Your dad's Mexican. You just lie to La Migra to avoid, deportation. But mom's white. Mom's an American. Mom's an army brat, right? Even if dad was Mexican, mom's an army brat. Mom marries dad. Dad becomes a citizen, and that thus makes me a citizen. So you guys don't make it. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, but then you're still Mexican. Well, at least half Mexican. Could you call me half beaner, half wetback, half speckett? And then you're totally ignoring the kraut. And what's a derogatory term for the Irish? There's tons of them. I know they are out there. And the Mick, yeah. You're totally disregarding the Mick and the kraut. You're going to totally disregard my mother? Well, makes sense. Yeah. That's how you've been trained. Okay. I was in my little town. I was never, oh, damn, I'm stuck in Paul Simonville again. My little town, I was never nothing. I was just my father's son. That's not true, because here in town, with all the Mexicans, they güero, gringo. I was the man. Because my mom dropped us off, and she had red hair, white skin, and blue eyes. Okay. So I want to hear it out of you assholes. An idiot looks for any excuse to get drunk. In other words, an idiot looks for any excuse to continue to being an idiot, right? Well, I would change and be a better person. I pardon you. Oh, here we go again. Spielberg's a genius, right? And any excuse he can look for to be a genius and have other people be geniuses with him for money. Yeah. An idiot looks for any excuse to be a genius. I got a great idea. Let's be an idiot for money. Okay. What a great excuse for being an idiot. Yeah. And it's insidious and it's constant, right? Get this one loaded, then get my clothes on, and then go run up on the roof and oil the air conditioner and clean down and spray the skylight. And the Skyliners, Jimmy Beaumont, is he passed away yet? Most people that I know when I was growing up and stuff I'm 60 years old. And so when I was growing up, most of the people on TV were at least 20 years older than me. So that means most of them are dead. And some of that guy's dead too. That person's dead too. They're dead too. So most of the people I listened to on the radio and most of the people I watched on the television, except for Penny on Good Times, are dead, right? And so you're like, wow, that's messed up, man, that's messed up. And Richie Cunningham, he's still with us, right? And what about Clint Howard? Is he still with us? Okay. And so, but so the two Howard brothers are still alive, right? That's about it. I'm joking. I'm being facetious. I'm a facetious person. It's one of my talents. Faceticism. Yeah, I just made up a word. That's also one of my talents, making up words. Well, I made up the word God, made up the word faith, made up the word truth. No, there's evidence to prove it. It's called genome sequencing. They can trace your signals back to the past and if you're a person that lots of people are praying to to the word of God and faith and truth that I made up all those years ago, the military can sit there and go, okay, let's see how great this guy is. Most of the signals seem to be going to Earl from Jesus. Jesus is not, shut up, Chris Hinchey, go smoke your cigarette, right? So, like I try to explain to people, like my sister, yeah, this is miserable. I'm miserable. I hate life. I was like, yeah, but you did most of it to yourself. Those are your decisions. You chose to be sick because you won't stop drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes. And experts, which study things like that, and not experts that care about you, don't do that. I just want to die. It's obvious. Okay. And you've been drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes your whole life. I just want to die. Yeah, that makes sense. People can understand that. And then you understand that. Do you respect that decision? No, I can't respect a decision like that. We're given life by the glory of grace. This is a beautiful planet. If you stand up for the Lord's Prayer, you're not going to want to try to kill yourself with alcohol and cigarettes because everybody doesn't want to listen to you talk. Everybody, you kill yourself with alcohol and cigarettes because not everybody wants to listen to you, and it's not all about you. Okay, if it's all about you, you're upset, and okay, well, not everybody's listening to me. I'm not the most truthful person on the planet, and I'm not the world's greatest genius. Yeah, Ira, that's the truth. Okay. Well, then if that's not going to happen, then I just want to go kill myself. Wouldn't it be better to be right and then live a life loving people that are tortured by your ego because they inherit it? It's genetics. And so, wouldn't it be better to fall in love with Jesus Christ and spend your whole life, trying to make, help people fall in love with Jesus Christ too? It's not my dad's fault that the Vatican is a bunch of mind-raping child molesters with a big bank that turns things into comic book characters that are not tangible. Okay. So you get all these people, they believe that, Jesus is a not tangible human being, that none of us can be like. And so he has to take us to a place that's not tangible to live with him, because this tangible, is a test to see if we can go live with him and not tangible, And you're like, what? Okay, you do know that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Jesus is God, and his reward to believe that he is God, no matter what the devil does down to you here to tempt you to stay here, takes you to a place that's not tangible. And the reason why the scientists can't find it, because it's not tangible for them, because they don't believe Jesus is God. Wow, that's quite terrible. Did you know? Okay, that way, Led Zeppelin, Simon and Garfunkel, and the We Five have a gift for you. It's called your health care. Yeah. You take that before you die, and you'll believe anything you tell yourself in your brain. Solitary confinement for the soul, right? Is Nelly Furtado in there flying around like a bird? Okay. Is that the bird cage? Is Robin Williams there? Is he still funny? Okay. Did he confess to Jesus Christ that he was God right before he killed himself? Wait a minute. You can't kill yourself and get to that place that, isn't tangible, and scientists can't get there because they don't believe Jesus is God. Okay, so let's retract that less. Robin Williams is definitely down there, down below, down below, down below. It just can't be that bad, right? Coldest days of my life. Good song. Yeah, it's a limerick. Yeah, lots of people think that way still. And it's the 21st century with global communications, and we have the best scientists that we've ever had. No, we don't have the best scientists we've ever had. If we had the best scientists we've ever had, we'd be applying the physics of the Lord's Prayer globally. Our relationship globally would be sustaining our planet through empathy and respect. And then they would finally understand how to faithfully love instead of wanting to put the perception of their consciousness on a robot to see if the cats turn into flying cats to kill all the rats in New York after all the human beings are killed by bad science projects to save us from the last bad science projects. I don't want to hear any of that kind of bullshit. That's neglect and child abuse, right? Potato clockers, right? So call your lawyer if you think I offended you, okay? And get money, but is your wife dead yet? Because if not, if the old paperwork for your marriage comes in, the guy who did the puppet for your show is and your wife are going to get all their money at their mansion in Mexico, right? They built a concrete house. You're funny. I wonder if they're going to get an insane pool put on it. Yeah, with all the rocks. So the rooks. Do people in Cabo San Lucas have pools like the people in America to have their pools to make it look like they're in Cabo San Lucas? Yeah, they do. I saw a Selena concert down there. Yeah, okay. They do. They build them like that down there too. Okay. Well, rich people do crazy things to make themselves feel like, and then feel all important. They got no love for one another. When you do things to make yourself feel important, I did that with the rec hall. So you could do this. This could be your own personal private rec area and place to just go like, okay, Dad worked hard for this. And then just make it, kind of like a fun little graffiti hangout place to dance and sing and exercise and stuff. They came once. I talked about living the Lord's Prayer and they all ran away and left and never came back, They flee from him, Lord's Prayer. No, really, seriously, he gave it to us at Calvary. He gave his very life so we would focus on his commands. Okay, where is everybody? I don't have any friends because I tell everybody the truth. I do too. I have tons of friends. I have Haile Selassie. I've got Totiro Suzuki. I got all my imaginary lovers in my head, right? Life's eternal and grace is infinite. Oh, if your life story was in the book of Revelation, they'd be talking to you too. Okay. But since your life story's not in the book of Revelation, these guys don't have a Horcrux to know who you are to talk to you. So you can't correct artificial general intelligence and help quantum computing work like the guy who's in the books. How Keanu Reeves and Hugo Weaving of us. Do you understand? No? Okay. I'll send you an 8x10 glossy signed. Just book the flight. Just book the flight. Chicago, Detroit, just book the flight. Because the boys in the hood are always hard. Come talking that trash, we'll pull your card, but nothing in life but to be legit. Where's Hawaii? It's an island chain in the South Pacific, sir. John Singleton, man. Wow. He does drug movies now on TV. All right. And that promotes a bad culture that gets people involved in genocide activity that gets them killed in the street with guns from people they call the police, right? And that man had the audacity to front on Tupac Shakur and tell him, that you're reckless and dangerous and you're going to get yourself killed. Because you do things that are, you do things that are selfish. Oh, really, John? What's it like at UCLA Film School, man? You filming stuff? You making money off of it? Okay, if we were living the applied physics of the Lord's Prayer, John Singleton, I know, just book the fight, nigga. Okay. No, dude, I know you, man. I know you. You got to just help a brother out, man. I know who you are. I swear I know you. Okay. Yeah, just book the flight. He didn't say, do me a favor and just book the flight. He just says, just book the flight. And what happened? I took his cake and I shoved it in his face, and then I went back to the Pullman car and listened to Joe Louis win the heavyweight championship of the world. You didn't really push his face. You know, I didn't push the cake into his face. I thought about it, though. Okay. Hi, I'm Denzel Washington. I have a tennis and a basketball court in my backyard. No, but I do have a small basketball court in the barn, and a small pickleball court on the RV pad thing there. Yeah. Yeah. Well, my sister's trying to talk my dad into making it RV ready and then renting to people that come in and out of here all the time, like they do the cabin. And I was like, yeah, but Pancha and Lawrence don't have to live with the people that live in the cabin. And if somebody comes through the cabin appearing to be nice and turns out to be a very uncouth person, Pancha and Lawrence don't have to try to cohabitate next to that person or sleep next to somebody who might be a professional assassin or a professional thief or something like that, and then have people that are chasing them or coming after them because they're not good people. So I don't know. I mean, it's something to consider if you want to pay extortion to live here and play their game. But me, I'm like, you look at the risk rewards, stuff like that. What if your neighbor does it? Well, that's his sin, not mine, But if I value money more than I value life, and I play games with life because I value money, I'm not sure if I'd want to make that decision. But I'll leave that up to artificial general intelligence and quantum computing to decide how well the United States of America treats their God, right? Yeah. So I'm pretty sure the Chinese counts on that. Okay. The Chinese, I don't think they claim that the line of Confucius and Sun Yat-sen is a god. They see him as Spock's brain. Same with the Japanese with the swordsmen of Japan. Okay. So their linguistics and their computing is radically different than yours. Okay. They screwed up. They can take their best guy, plug him into a computer, and their linguistics will agree to it because it doesn't defy the laws of physics or gravity. And Michio Kaku's an asshole, trust me. It's genetically sequenced into his elitism, okay? A dog could figure it out, okay? But as far as, the guy like Solomon, he's not an asshole. And you don't have the right to take his body and plug it into a computer. You have just as good of a person plugged into a computer as the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Indians do. Okay. But the laws that are on the books in yours, as long as people keep referring to God as God and with the meaning of the word God, they're not messing with God. They're just taking a person and doing what they want with them because they have the free agency to do so. It's wrong, and everything they're doing, physiologically, psychologically, ecologically, is still, a disaster because of their economics. But you can't convince an egomaniac that his ego has gone into mania. It's not tangible. You can't do it. They'll cuss you out. They'll overtalk you. They'll make it as if he doesn't exist, and they'll run you over in the parking lot of a Best Buy, and then you'll be a character from M. Night Shyamalan's imagination to make lots of money for Deepak Chopra's daughter and her son-in-law, his son-in-law. Okay, I love you guys. Hey, truth is truth. Don't try to fuck with it, okay? You vulgar intercourses, man, that's all you do.